morning. It's a new week, Monday, October something. I don't know which. Um, it's feels like a really early morning, even though it's about usual time. I didn't get a good night's sleep again, so I'm kind of running on half steam. Um, so yeah, let me put my tweet out real quick. And really nothing as usual on the weekends. Things are pretty quiet as far as from devs giving us any kind of uh, super announcements or anything. But we did have one dev, which would be, I think it was Demeza, um, post or tweet a picture of some multicolored walls and multicolored lounge chairs. It's this chair here, the orange lounger, I think it's called. Uh, is that thing? Maybe it's right here. The easy chair, that's what it is. There was a post, an image that she posted on Twitter that had a bunch of these, but they were in different colors. There was like greens and blues and purples. And same way with, it looked like they had taken the exile wall. Figured I was going to do that. It's too many. Hold on a minute. Let me just do a reload. But it looked like they had taken the exile wall, that texture that the wall has, and just changed the coloring on it. Again, it was purples, greens, I think even yellow and stuff like that. Hey, Poi and Bones, good morning to both of you. So yeah, they're not actually in the game files that I could find. I did another scan just to check. So I couldn't actually find them. See if I can just call up the building blocks here. 25. Yeah, I think it was this wall here that they used as the template for the multicolored ones. It seemed to look that way. I could be wrong. They might have just made a whole new one for it or whatever, but it really did look like this. Anyway, there was multiple colors of those, multiple colors of the easy chairs, and I think it's again another sign that the devs are listening to us talk about how we would like more variety in our building blocks. You know, it's fantastic to have these special one-off, very specific, arranged kind of decor, like the summer decor, having that little ice chest kind of thing and the grill, and those specialized items are fun, but having some basic building blocks that have different textures, different colors, that a lot of us use for just building, you know, structures and things like that. I think that opens up a lot of opportunities. You know, maybe I didn't want this plain old brown house. Maybe I want a pink one or a purple one or green, you know. So yeah, it's I think it's a step in the right direction. Now there is, as Toya is pointing out, some debate as to whether or not these are actually new items per se. You know, like the scanner display screens, they have multiple colors of those, but they're individual items each themselves, or if it may be them hinting at a new system where we can actually color or dye our decor pieces, like the basic building blocks, something that I had, among others, suggested in the past as a way of them not having to make anything new as far as items, but just a die system like we have for our gear, to have that set up in some way for our decor. And again, I stress basic building blocks would be the things that I would want to focus on. Yeah, it might be fantastic to have a Barbie that, the barbecue grill that's all flamey and decorated and have it in multiple colors. But I figured starting with just the basic blocks would be easier. Like take the hover park array of decor that people use for all sorts of things, from buildings to cabinetry to furniture. Imagine what folks would be doing if they came in, if we could shade them any way we wanted, uh, from, stark black to bright white to any color of the rainbow. That would be just, uh, uh, it would open up so much. I think it would just, people would go crazy with it. I'm not saying that's what it is. It could be just simply, multiple walls of different colors. The main thing I wanted to make sure that they understood was that uh, I personally, I don't know how many of you would be, but I personally would be disappointed if somehow it's attached to um, the cash shop or Madame Faye or some other exclusive manner of obtaining these multicolored versions of the walls and the chairs. Um, I would hope, not that it's really been demonstrated recently with like the hedges and things, I would hope that they would get that, not everybody can afford to spend real money. Not everybody has been playing the game for months and months and months and have accrued enough omnibits to spend on such things at leisure. A lot of us, it's disheartening to have to wait months and months and months just to save up to be able to spend it on those things that you want. I know that's part of it. It's going to be, I accept it for exclusive items like special holiday related type of items, decor, uh, things like that. But when it comes to basic building blocks, I really, really do not think they belong on in that kind of method of obtaining them. I think they deserve to be straight up on the housing vendor. That's my opinion. I know there are those that are willing to spend it and everything, but I just think it's not a good way to go. I don't want to see everything that comes out for housing to be completely tied to spending my omnibits or spending my real money for that kind of stuff. If that persists, then I will continue to just use the same old stuff over and over because I just don't want to be pressured into doing that. I want to save my omnibits for those more unusual items. Maybe I don't want to spend them on decor. Maybe I do want to have, a special costume or a mount or something. I'm not saying that's what I will do. I'm going to probably spend it on decor, but yeah, I want that choice. I don't want to feel like I'm forced to always spend it on these, what I consider basic building blocks. But yeah, I'm sure there are people that don't have that opinion of the same mindset as me. But yeah, just thought I would mention that. But she did post some, a screenshot of it, and some of us have been retweeting it around. So if you haven't seen it yet, just check out Twitter. I don't think anyone's posted in the forums yet, but I wouldn't doubt someone does eventually. Um, but again, I don't know when we might actually see that in game and how it's going to come about, if it's actually just items or if it's some kind of a new dye painting system or what. Either way, I think would be interesting. I have again another worry that if it's a painting system, does that mean it'll be something that you have to unlock through the cash shop? I presume if it's a system, probably will be. So maybe it's time to save up or something. But other than that, I don't think I really noticed anything specific about upcoming stuff. I know there's been some threads in the forum where people have been trying to discuss, the doom and gloom stuff again. And we actually had a dev drop by and say that it really doesn't bring anything to the discussion as far as anything productive. So they went ahead and closed it, but in the process, they said that there are some announcements coming, some new things coming. So maybe this is one of those things. Maybe they were just talking about the Hover Park event and, of course, Shades Eve event that's coming up soon. I don't know, but I'm hopeful and continue to be and will remain to be until, it's absolutely not pertinent to be hopeful. But yeah, so speaking of events, we do have the Double XP event still ongoing. I think it lasts until the 17th. I honestly don't know. What is today? I'm so lost on my days. Today is the 10th. See, what does the hoverboard thing last until tomorrow? Can't remember. It may already be over. I didn't take any kind of, I haven't raced or anything, so I really don't remember how long it said it was going to be up. Hey, Aurora, good morning. So yeah, it's just be mindful that there's an event going on. It could be the hoverboard stuff too. Let me see. I don't know if it's on my welcome window still or not. Yeah, it's still showing up, so at least until the rollover, nothing else. But I haven't done any of that stuff, which is probably bad. I don't even know. I assume the rewards were basically the same, other than I think they added a new um, hoverboard to be available. I don't know if that's something just strictly from the cash shop or if it was something as a reward. I'm really not a big collector on those things. If I happen to get them, great, but I don't go out of my way for it. But, oh, okay. Well, thank you, Boy, for confirming that they are still up. I I got tickled at Siskwe. Siskwe, I think it was her that posted about the last time. I think it was like over 300 and something seconds trying to get through one of the the courses. I sympathize so much because there's one. I think it was the Celestion one that I always miss something because I don't know if it's because I go too fast and the stuff doesn't show up, the little guides, and I get off track or I fall off the cliff when you go up. I end up falling off the cliff and just getting completely off the course, and I spend most of my time running around in a circle trying to get back into the loop of it. But yeah, I don't do very good with those races and stuff. Uh, I was never good at Mario Kart and things like that, so this is like brings back bad memories. Anyway, so I promised we would be getting started on this painting here. Basically, last week all we did was set up the canvas of the painting. Yes, I haven't messed with pushing it in further into the wall. I may do that later at the end. For now, we're going to leave it like it is. But basically, it's just books for the frame, a little bit of layered glass, top and bottom. The top has a little bit extra. We just slanted it a little bit slightly to make it even lighter than it already was, just to kind of, uh, I guess I wanted to bring out a little bit more difference between the horizon and the ground and that of the sky, sort of. Um, yes, maybe it would have been better if the lighter part was really up at the top, but this is the bottom of the cellar entrance, so I'm just kind of trying to use, rather than going with my traditional, sticking with the plain white canvas that I have been for the last few bits. I wanted to try and use something from a different piece of decor, and this is one of the more interesting patterned bottoms There's some others that have like swirly stripes. Um, Looks like the texture's been stretched. I'm trying to think of what that was, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. Um, Other ones with just mottled kind of coloring, almost similar to the Draken floor and everything. So I wanted to pick an interesting one. This one is one of the more starkly visible, it's got some really nice different kinds of coloring, and I wanted to see if I could do something with that. I don't know what my best is. I used to take screenshots. In fact, I used to try and get my guildmates, my former guildmates, to kind of do a friendly competition thing where they would try and post their best, but there was some fussing because I tend to use my Glitter Kitty hoverboard, and I guess it's faster than the usual boards, and not everybody has the Glitter Kitty one, so I guess they felt like I was being unfair. So then later we say, well, we'll have a Glitter Kitty section and then a section for others. And yeah, the tornadoes can be tough, boy. They can be. I think my husband has the most trouble with that one when he did it. But I don't know, the one where we go really high up. I think that's in Celestion. That's the one that gives me the most problems. I think I just kind of, I'm not very good at aiming, driving. I guess I'm kind of loopy and I just go off track too easily. Okay, so it's just glass, layered glass. The bottom of the cellar entrance, and then books for the edging. Now, notice I had the bookend here, the spine to cover up, but I haven't done that on the bottom. I'm probably will do that later. Something I could have done before, but I just didn't. But again, it's those little things. Just like I know there's a bit of a line here where it appears maybe the bottom of the cellar entrance doesn't go all the way down. I could either push the books up to close that gap, or I could just wait and see how the foreground and stuff works out and see if I really need to cover it up with anything. Um, so the first thing is, again, when you're doing a painting kind of like this, you're first going to be thinking about your background, your sky, your ground, get those sorted. So we've kind of got that. Um, Next is you're going to be, again, you're working in layers. So anything that's in your foreground is going to have to be placed above whatever's in your background. That's important to note because depending on how far you push in things, they may or may not overlap like you want them to. For those of you that have watched me put some of this together before, have seen me struggle with that. You have to keep pulling things out further and further, and by the time you're done, you have like in this part it's all flat, and then as you reach out here it's like bulging because I'm purposely needing to overlap certain things to make them look like they're in front of other things. So the more flat you can make your background stuff, and as you layer it up, the more flat you can keep it, the better. But in some instances, depending on what you're doing, especially if you're trying to really play with perspective and such, it can get kind of difficult to maintain that flatness. And of course, when you start turning things and you're looking at it from the front, you're not really paying attention to how it looks like on the sides. It may look great when you're looking at it straight on, and then you look out here and you've got all these like bulgy bits, and it'll just distort everything. You just kind of have to get past that and think, okay, well, that's just a sacrifice based on how I'm putting this together. Again, if you're building a painting like this in a prefab home that has these walls that aren't thin like this, then you have a great deal more freedom as to what items you can use. Because like maybe you want to use the bottom of a fence post or a light post, or bottom of a tree or whatever, and it has to be fairly big. Well, that means the tree's going to be sticking out a mile back here. Well, in a custom house like this, that poses a pretty big problem. You can't use those things because you can't hide them. As it is, when I use the cellar entrance, I had to redo this whole cabinet to make that work. Um, but in a prefab home, if you're building it against a wall like that, or in a wall that you're not going to see the back side of anyway, like an outer wall of a building or something, um, then anything goes basically, as long as you keep it within the frame of the canvas. Um, so a lot of times, especially when I'm doing this on the thin walls or whatever, there will be things that might pop into your head that can be used in certain instances, but I don't use them because they would pose to be, they would become problematic with the thin walls. That's mainly the main thing. So a lot of times when I'm thinking of items, I'm thinking of flat type of things like the books, like the walls, things that can shrink um, down small but still be seen. Even if I back off a little bit, I can still see them, because sometimes you'll shrink down items, and the further away you get, the less visible they become. The rendering just shuts them off. But when it comes to paintings, I want them to be at least visible right about here, right about this point, so that if you're in a room like so, I can see that there's a bird there. It's not like it's completely blank until I get right up to it. Now you'll notice that some of the details, like the eyes of the bird, the beak of the bird, they aren't visible from this distance, but about here, they're fairly visible. You can see the beak now, and then you have to get even closer to see the eye and some of the detail of the feathers. But I want most of it, as much as I can, to be visible from a good distance. That way, when it comes time to take screenshots and stuff, that doesn't look weird when you have this nice, lovely scene, and then it's just a blank. That would be kind of odd. So yes, Poi, that's your clock. This is a gift Poi sent me, the grandfather clock. Awesomely done. It's something she posted about, and I was like, ooh, that looks so cute, and I put it here. I actually removed one of the dressers or something. I don't remember what I had here. I think it was a candle or something. Yeah, this here. I think I moved it off into the bathroom just to make space for this lovely instruction. Anyway, so I tried giving some thought over to what I wanted to paint. Um, I, again, wanted to go for something that's either to do with the season or with the holiday, with it being Shades Eve, something dark, a little bit gloomy looking maybe. Um, I didn't want to completely go for a silhouette type of thing, but I think it's going to end up being something very close. I'm going to try and steer away from that as best I can, but we'll see how it goes. Um, I forgot to check. I was kind of running out of time this morning, so yeah, I don't have any at all. Let me think. I know one item I'm probably going to want to use. I'm going to have to stock up on it, I guess. Excuse me. Trying to figure out where the gear trophy comes from. I want to say it's Mulgrave, but I'm not sure. Oh, I had a post somewhere that I had linked, and I can't find it. Stuff, housing. I got like too many bookmarks of stuff. my gosh. I'll have to look it up later, I guess. But I think it's small grave or something, and I'm gonna have to get those because I know I'm gonna probably be using those. But first things first, again, we're gonna start more in the background. So the main thing I know I wanted was kind of a spooky house, like a house that you would imagine being haunted, or some such. Maybe it's Frankenstein's home. I don't know. Um, I did Google some pictures, but I didn't find anything exactly like what I was wanting. So I'm going to be using them kind of as a remembered reference, but I'm probably going to be winging a lot of it. There's one in particular, it's kind of a small picture, it's like a thumbnail that I kind of liked, so I might be using that as a big, strong guide on that. But obviously, I'm not going to be able to build my painting exactly like those. You can only, well, I can only get it kind of close, a representation of it, similar, but it's not going to be exact. It's like all the other paintings I've done in the past is heavily inspired by, but not an exact replica, just because one, I'm not that talented to exactly do it the same as them, but also just due to limitations on the items we have available and such. So the first thing I want is, because the sky area is on the light side, I want something dark for the building. Um, it also needs to be something that's relatively flat, that even if I, size it up somewhat large, it, still doesn't stick out too far through. Yes, I know that the cabinet's pretty thick on this side, but again, if I was to share this with someone, they might not have this luxury of, you know, chunking it out. Maybe they want me to change the background itself. There's all sorts of things. I still try to keep things fairly compact. Um, as you know, if you're any one of the builders that try to build things and looking for certain colors, we don't have a lot of black or dark type of items that are uh, pliable, I guess. Obsidian rocks are probably ones I turn to a lot. Um, they're more purple, but depending on how you use them and the lighting, they can look pretty dark. We do have the, what's it called? The graded floor panel. Um, that one, if you use the back side, it can make a nice dark type of surface. There's the light post, the exile, I guess it's a fence post. This one here, the bottom of it works pretty good for a dark surface, especially if you're looking for facial features. I like the use of for eyes and such. My preference though is the vent tank. The only big difference is the vent tank has a little bit of a lighter interior uh, circular area, and this has more of just a weird pattern. This seems to be another one of those pattern things. It looks like a mountain on it. Oh, is it the Grim Vault? Okay, thank you, Aurora. I appreciate that. I may drop over there during the stream and pick some up in a bit. So there are some things that have dark bits and can be used in that way, but I'm thinking with a house structure, you're going to be wanting something that you can make a point out of, like for the roofing. And probably like things like the metal plank might be usable. Trying to think what else. There might be other bits of like containers and things that you might could use. Notice I'm not mentioning like the hover part pieces. Those, especially here, I think they will just look brown. And I'm wanting something a little darker. Um, Again, I'm limiting myself to mostly looking at what's available on the housing vendor. You might come across things that are a little bit more exclusive. Maybe they're dungeon drops, craftables, things like that, vendor items that I'm just not thinking of that could also work. I don't know, maybe there's some strange fencing piece that has a little bit of dark bits that you can use in that way. But I think the one that pops to my mind is I think it's called the alcoves. Yeah, I like these. Now it's not, black, it's not super dark, but I think on this and at the size that I'm going to use it, I think it'll be all right. The reason I like these is because it looks like it already has kind of a roof shape with some kind of little doohickey on the top. And I think I can use that to kind of play along with the idea that it's a house that I'm creating. So I'm just going to lay down one, and then we're going to get it lined up first, turn it around. I'm going to scale it as pretty small. And we may have to actually rotate it because if you'll notice, this is kind of a little leany right up here. At least it looks that way to me. So see how it looks. Now notice I'm pulling it out. See how it lightens up as I push it in? That's because the glass is slanted right there. So I want to keep it above that glass because one, it makes it easier if I place this and I'm not quite happy with the positioning, then I can just click it and move it again. If I put it behind the glass, then every time I go to select it, I'll be selecting the glass and I'll have to either do the decor finder or click through the decor list just to get it selected, and I don't want to go through that trouble. I think I'm going to go ahead and make this a little smaller and bring that forward a little bit more. Again, I'm just trying to keep it dark. So you can see it's sticking out above the glass. So now if I click on it, it should click the alcove itself. So I'm going to double that. Put that here. And then I'm going to get the other one. It's shaped just a little bit different. I think it's this one here. Yep. I'm going to drop that there. And I'll make it a little bit bigger. I'll use that for the middle here, I think. I want to get this filled in here, so I'm going to use several. Again, if you see the flashing, that's due to two pieces trying to occupy the same space. Just kind of elevate it or de-elevate it, however you need to get it to stop flashing. Bring this one out a little bit. try with this one. Now I could use books or something to kind of make all the lines a lot more solid if I want. So there we have a little, I don't know, a little weird little house. But I don't want it off to the side. Maybe I want it right in the center. So what I do is I would choose one that's kind of overlapping most of them and link all the rest to that. Now I could do the auto link all of the same, but since I'm using two different kinds of alcoves, I think it's just easier if I just click it manually. I prefer that anyway, so I can kind of better control. I don't pick up anything that I don't mean to. Now we have the whole little house. We're going to put that in the center. Maybe you think it's too big, so this is your opportunity to size it down. If you want. There's your nice little creepy house in the background. Now, what I was going to use the gear trophies for was to light up some windows. So I think we'll go ahead. Where did you say that was? The Grimvault. Grimvault. Let's just go there. Make that trip real quick. See, I guess I could just run. This will have me switching back and forth a little bit, so bear with me. I should have done this morning, but like I said, I kind of got a little start. I didn't go prepared. I actually should probably just check if she's got the rep with it, but I'm not gonna. Don't think the gear trophies are soulbound. I think you can buy them with your main and give them to your alts. One example of a rep vendor item that I appreciate because it's not tied to the person or the character that can get it. Others like the carrot plushie and stuff, those are still tied to whoever has the rep. I might actually have some extras somewhere. I don't think I have any here. Actually, yeah, I do. Well, lo and behold, that saves me a little bit of time. I'll just mail these over. Nope. Which I don't know how many I'll need, so I'll probably just create, I don't know, a handful. It's the only thing I get annoyed with when I'm bringing in decor. I wish whatever character you're on the plot of, or maybe you could just designate whose crate you wanted to go to, or just have a universal crate for everybody, and then you wouldn't have to be flipping between your characters when you want to give them something. Yeah, I keep a little stockpile, so let's just I'll put in 10. Hopefully that's enough. If not, I'll come back and grab some more. Well, I know I stocked up on them mostly because the one of the well, actually both, but the one that I was working on that I haven't touched since I tried to put it together was the art museum or whatever, the art gallery. I made it all out of gear trophies. They're just a handy thing. I've used them for various bits and bubbles, and so I knew I was going to be using some, so I just got some extras. Okay, so I didn't have to leave the house. Yay for me checking my inventory after the fact. Oh gosh. What about the vent tanks? Probably for the dark stuff. Eyes. I like that for the eyes. Sorry if I keep picking at my eyes, but they're watering. I've been suffering from, I don't know if it's allergies or if I've been trying to fight, fend off a cold, but I've been sneezing and my eyes have been itchy and burning the last couple of days. So I feel like they're just leaking all over the place. They really aren't, but it just feels that way because they were pretty gross the last couple of days. Okay, so we have the little house, and notice again, I have to sacrifice because it's not showing up at that size, which is disappointing, but it's one of those deals. You have to be like right up on it to see all this lovely little stuff. But again, it's just one of those things. But I definitely wanted to use those pieces though. So for the gear trophy, get it lined up first. Then I'm going to rotate it, shrink it down. It's probably going to have to be pretty small because I don't want like these huge windows, but I'm hoping that it'll kind of look like it's lit up. See how you can't go too small because then it doesn't show up at all, even at a close distance. So maybe yeah, it disappears when I put it back there. I have to pull it out a little bit further. So decide, how do you want the window to look? Right up at the tippy top. Round one. You want one for the door? Is it wider? Is it double? Will you have a line there? Do you want lines in the windows? This is all little things that you would want to ask yourself. Is it too many windows? Does it look too patterny? If you want bars on the windows, like it's an actual window, you might try the actual windows with the frames on them. Let's see. The barred ones, and just sink it in so that the bars show. You could just use the simple little bar, the windows themselves, especially if you want the curved shape like this here. Will the air conditioner work? It could. If you're wanting yellow light, I would say probably either using I would say if you want some yellow light to show out, I would probably try the new windows from WildStar, the illuminated ones, and just find a way to either slant it so that only certain ones are it's only so much is showing. Maybe try that. I'll just put that out and we'll play around with it. But yeah, the back of the air conditioner might work. There's another one. I don't know if it's air conditioner or is it air conditioner or exhaust fan. It's one of the two. If you're going for a round window, you might try the Marauder one. Um, this one here, if you're looking for a golden round, that might work for like the attic window. And then of course, yeah, the air conditioner would be the square. You could, if you happen to have some of those golden frames, like the oh, what's it called? I'm really bad with the names. Uh, the RMC portrait. This has a bit of gold, and I've used that. Actually, I used that on the Pokemon plot for the windows there. It's a little awkward because of the bits on the edges, but it's one alternative if you happen to have some or you don't have anything else to use. See how the window is pretty not visible, and it's still too big, I think. That's about as small as I go. If I go to 0.01, there's just not going to be anything there. Won't see it no matter how close it is. That's probably not an option, at least at this size. If you make it bigger, it'd probably be all right. But let's see if we can even get this in here. At the size we need it. There you go. Got a little bit of the yellow, and I'm having to tilt it pretty strongly because I don't want that bottom part showing, but that works pretty good. Again, you may have to do some slight adjustments. Like I don't want all of the window frame poking through too much. Because someone that's going to get up close, they're going to see all of the boo-boos. I'm looking at it from a certain distance, and it seems okay to me. We'll move this aside. Let's just see, now I didn't even need the the gear trophies. Try it just with this. That's a good idea. Again, it also complicates things because I have the alcoves themselves are layered, so you can see how it disappears when I bring it to the one that's in front. These are a little expensive, 2 gold per, but you know, if you can afford it, that's the look you're going for, you know, that'll work. You keep trying to zoom in. Well, if you zoom in, you'll see it's still pretty meh. But again, I usually look at mine from a distance. We'll make that appear like they're a little bit smaller. And to see what I want to do for the door there. either I bring this out so that it's full up the 4 and then just cover this bottom part with something flat, or push this in and double it up. This way. No, I don't want to move that on. Yeah, particular, like, and the more leany it has to be, the more like narrow it looks. It looks squishy. There we go. I think that'll work for the creepy house. Um, so yeah, pretty close, I think, what I want. I'm gonna go ahead and link the windows up to the main part of the house. See if I can bump this up just a bit. I want the light to kind of be more right on the horizon. Okay, so next part is what I'm wanting, or what I see in my head and what I've seen in other pictures is I think I want like a road that's coming, you're standing on the road and you're like walking, you're on your way to the house. So you're going to have this strip it'll help throw in some perspective. It's going to get narrow as it gets closer to the house and wider as it comes towards the viewer. So it'll be like something like going from here, here, depending on how you want to do it. You can set it up, you can either just wing it and just kind of leave it kind of random how you place it in, so it looks a little less, not like some kind of asphalt type of road. If you want to make it look more like a dirt road or something, you could use something that's a little bit jaggedy on each end so that you can kind of zigzag it back and forth and just make it bigger and bigger as you go closer and closer or further down the canvas. You can actually use some item like a 2x4 to kind of use as a guide to keep you within that line limit, however you want to do it. Let me see if I have a picture I was looking at, sort of. Yeah. For like this particular background, the whole ground is pretty much dark. So I have to make the decision, do I want the road to be light and the ground dark, or do I want it opposite, the ground light and the road dark? That makes sense. So it's either a matter of me lightening up the ground, make it look like, I don't know, grass, stones, whatever, or do I lighten up the path that's going to be going to the house? Logically, it would probably be easier, fewer items to lighten up the path. But I think I'm going to do the opposite and lighten up the edges, the sides. Might not be very very good in the end, but we're going to try it. I may end up changing my mind later as I see how it comes together, but what I want is something that I can use either as an edge or whatever. And it's not that we're going to be simulating grass per se, because in this season, most of that is pretty dead anyway, so we're not looking for greens. We're going to be looking for something that's gray, uh, brown maybe, dark, uh, something that's going to match better. I don't know if this is really going to be a nighttime type of thing, or it's just gloomy. So again, we're not looking for greens, so none of the grasses, none of the trees, bushes, and anything like that. None of that will really work, in my opinion, for this particular scene because it's too colorful. I want to keep it very monotone. Yes, I'm using the yellow color in the lights. Thank you to Aurora's suggestion of lighting it up, but um, I don't want that in the actual background and foreground and stuff. I want to keep it as monotone and gray and gloomy and dead looking as possible. So I could probably use, I can't use pillars because the pillars come with those little knobby ends. Unless I streak them all the way across, but I don't want to do that because I got to leave the gap for the road. So I can't use too much dark because the ground itself is already dark. So I'm going to be looking for something that I can lighten it up. I could use layered glass to try and lighten up streaks of it to break it up. That's one way. I'm trying to think of something that's streaky looking. I don't know how else to describe that, but let me just look through here, see if anything hits me. You might could use some of the edges of the building blocks. I would steer clear of the brown ones, but maybe some of the gray ones would work, like the Cassian ones. It's a little grayish. As long as it's not the same coloring as already there. Kind of like the books. I know that the book covers will show up, but I'm wondering if that would work all right. I'm gonna lay that out there as an idea. I don't know if it'll work or not, but see, this I would almost say could, but because the edges are so paper thin, I think it would just look like a lot of flashing lines. I don't want that. You might could use the edges of like this. That might work okay. But again, it's kind of clunky because it's big. That might, the edges there. I think I'm gonna try the books. All right, Bones, have a good day at work. Thank you for dropping by. We'll talk with you later. But let me just see how this looks, if it's gonna be really not so good or if it's feasible. Whoops, what did I do that for? I don't even know if some of the books are different as far as how deep the book part is. Let me see. There's another book. Try the blue book. Let me just see if it's similar. It's about the same. Just a little bit of a indent. The this one's got a little bit of a slant to the pages though here. Might like that better instead of fully straight on.